granniopteryx, granniopteryx. She knows the truth, she's linking every link.
Hello. I'm going to start with, I suppose you could call it, a little quiz. I'm going to play 3 videos to you. One of them as transmitted by the BBC, the next one as shown on the Independent newspaper's webpage, and the third as transmitted by NBC News. So we've got the British media and the American media and the Independent, which is what you might call the world's socialist media. All right, and I want you to tell me what is most in common with these videos, except for 1, they're of the similar situation, and 2, they are all 3 being broadcast by well, you might call generally leftist type news media. But that's not what I'm asking you. Yeah, pay attention. Here's the BBC one. It shows a group of Iranians at a bridge who are standing there to protect the bridge from American or Israeli bombing. White Bridge, Avaz, Iran, it says here. The Iranian authorities have urged people to form human shields on potential US and Israeli targets. Oh, that's rather fast here. I'll go back and I'll read the rest of it. On potential US and Israeli targets such as bridges and power plants. It says here, President Trump has threatened to destroy civilian infrastructure in Iran. You will notice they're all the ladies are pretty well chaddored up, except for this one. Her scarf seems to have fallen to the back of her head, but she is no doubt protected from the ravages of the morality police by the pro-Hamas scarf she's wearing, so she's probably all right. Let's carry on. They're all waving the Iranian Republic, Islamic Republic flags. Here's, Kasserun, Iran. And that's a power station there. And look at all those people standing there waving the Iranian Republic flags, and all the women very modestly dressed in chadors. Okay, let's go to the next one. This is as played by the Independent. This is the same power station. You will notice all the women, again, are very decently dressed. This one, a bit daring, a rather short knee-length overcoat, but she is wearing trousers. And, of course, her head is covered. And they're all waving the flags. It's the same place as the other power station. So I wonder whether there are just 2 areas where they've succeeded in getting these crowds out there. There's the power station, but whether it's just 2 areas or not, that is not what I'm asking you to pay attention to. So, yeah, let's see what's going on here. Yeah, here are more of them. There are an awful lot of ladies out here, aren't there? I suppose it would make better optics if they were bombed than if men were bombed. So, yeah. Not many children, though. Here are some men. Of course, they're all separated. The men on one side, the women on the other. This is a religious occasion, really, isn't it? Okay, that's a bridge, and it's the same bridge as in the previous video. So, again, we don't know whether this is just 2 events and nothing else is happening, or whether they just happen to get the cameras out for that. Right, that's in the Independent, and this is as reported on NBC News. I think there's some sound on this as well. It says here some Iranians, so it didn't say the whole of the Iranian population. Some Iranians gathered at power plants and on bridges as Trump and Netanyahu threatened to destroy civilian infrastructure. Well, power plants and bridges. I'm not too sure because all I've seen so far is power plant and bridge. But we'll let that pass for the time being. That's not what I wanted you to pay attention to. Oh, look, somebody's brought a kid in army uniform. How sweet. There's the power plant again. Iran's government had earlier called on people to form human chains to protect potential targets. That might be a bit of a clue for you. We'll carry on. And there's the bridge. I'll look at them all. All right, well, I'll leave it at that. I think you've got the idea, haven't you? Now, what do you think of this? What's the one thing that's in common with all of them, apart from the fact that it's the same bridge and the same power plant and the same generally leftist news media? Well, this is what's in common. Not in the BBC, not in the Independent, and not in NBC News is the observation that it is a given that the Israelis and the Americans would not bomb civilians. In an internet dominated by Iranian propaganda, the Israelis particularly are accused of being especially bloodthirsty, murderous and demonic, and the Americans come pretty close behind that as the worst people, the most murderous, horrible people in the world. And yet the Iranian government is asking civilians, women and obviously at least one child, but they would have taken more, wouldn't they? Is asking civilians to come out and stand in the places where Trump had threatened to do some bombing, in the full knowledge that the Americans would not follow through on that, which is possibly why there's a ceasefire now. And what does this mean? It means that the Iranians, both the government and the civilians who are standing here, know deep down, however much they're waving their flags and pull their chadors over their faces, that the Americans and the Israelis are more humane than their own governments, because they know they're not going to be attacked while they're standing there. If they thought that the Americans would bomb them, even with civilians there wouldn't be any point in them standing there at all, would there? It wouldn't protect the bridge. So if the Iranian government is saying protect the bridge by standing there, it means the Iranian government is telling them the Americans are better than they are. I want to show you another video now. This guy reminds me very much of the child catcher in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, but for some reason he's got the same look. All right, let's listen to this.
مامانا
Mothers, fathers, take your children by the hand and come out onto the streets.
باباها دست بچه‌ها رو بگیرید بیایید تو خیابون. میخواید بچه
In case you're not watching this video but just listening to me, the man's smile is just about the most evil, well, if you want to use the word demonic, demonic smile I have ever seen on a man. Okay, he says here, do you want your son to become a man?
مرد بشه بذار حس کن
Let him feel he's a hero in the battlefield, commanding the battle.
یک قهرمان آمده وسط میدان میونداری داره میکنه میدونداری میکنه مامانا
Mothers, fathers, send your children at night to the roadblocks. That is, to take the place of the Basiji who are running for their lives right now, I suppose.
باباها بچه‌ها رو بفرستید این شبا ایست و باز.
Look at that smile. Yeah, just come and look at this video if you're not watching it now. Anyway, mothers, fathers, send your children at night to the roadblocks.
بچه‌ها مرد.
These children will turn into men. That is how the Iranian government sees the children of Iran. And then we've got this here. This was a pronouncement by Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei when he was still with us. Now, when was this? I don't know when this was, but I don't know the date, but it would have been fairly recently. Ali Khamenei has lifted all restraints on the deliberate killing of protesters by stating that Iran's Islamic regime came to power in 1979 by virtue of the blood of hundreds of thousands of noble martyrs. We will not allow the rioters to topple the regime. And so what Ali Khamenei has said is, we are going to shoot unarmed protesters in order to support the regime. And of course, you've seen this if you watch my, excuse the language here, if you've watched, I made a video about this, but yeah, it bears rewatching. This is a broadcast on Iranian TV. An imam of some sort is being interviewed by the television interviewer. Right. So the interviewer says 42,000 people have been killed. And the imam says, and there will be more. Half the world will be killed. The imam once said, even if the superpowers hang all of us, Basijis of the Islamic world, and all our women fall into captivity. That is, he's thinking about all the men being killed and the women being taken as sex slaves by the West. This is where his mind is. But anyway, in other words, if everything is destroyed, and then he says, it's worth it to reach our goal. That's what the Imam says. And that's his confirmation. 42,000 have been killed. It's at least 30,000 according to Western sources. He says 42,000. Okay, so that brings us back to the original videos. This is the BBC saying the Iranian authorities have urged people to form human chains. This is the Independent. Iranians unite in human chains to protect infrastructure amid Trump threats. And this is NBC. They do point out it's not clear how widespread or how choreographed, but they start off with Iranians form human chains to protect infrastructure. Now, all of these organs, NBC, the Independent, and the BBC, know everything I've just said to you about the fact that Iranian civilians are protecting these installations, knowing that the terrible American and Israeli forces won't bomb them if there are civilians there. All three of these news media know that. And yet they haven't mentioned it once. And they have acknowledged neither our superior technology, I'm talking about American and Israeli because the Brits are well out of it. They are acknowledging neither the superior and murderous technology of the Israelis and the Americans, nor the fact that they are not using this against civilians. That is the superior humanity of both of those governments. And they are not only not acknowledging it, they are not showing any pride in this superior humanity of the West. And that's coming from our national media. And I just wanted to point out this catastrophic lapse of moral clarity in our national media of all sorts, all the way across. Okay, till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.